All right, everybody, let's get ready for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we are tackling business finances.
Ooh.
But don't worry.
Okay.
This isn't going to be some boring lecture on spreadsheets.
Right.
We're going to make this fun.
Sounds good.
We're going to explore how to really understand your business's finances and to make your balance sheet work for you.
I like it.
And to help us along the way, we have Anil Lamba's Romancing the Balance Sheet.
Ah, yes. Romancing the Balance Sheet. That's a classic.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's such a great resource for anyone who wants to learn more about finance.
Yeah. You know what I really like about it?
What's that?
It's that it explains everything in such a clear and easy to understand way.
Right. It's not just for accountants.
Exactly.
It's for
It's for entrepreneurs.
yeah, for business owners.
Everyone really.
Anyone who wants to take control of their finances.
Exactly.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
You always hear about these financial statements,
Yeah.
balance sheets,
Yeah.
profit and loss statements,
Mhm.
cash flow statements.
Of course.
What are they really telling us?
Well, they're all super important, but in different ways.
Okay.
Think of it like a checkup.
Okay.
But for your business,
I like that.
each one gives you like a different vital sign.
Okay. I'm listening.
The balance sheet.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a snapshot.
Okay.
It tells you what you own.
So like assets.
Yeah, your assets, exactly.
Okay.
It also tells you what you owe.
Liabilities.
Yep, liabilities.
Yeah.
And then what's left over for you,
Which is
equity.
okay.
Now, the profit and loss statement.
Great.
This one shows how much money you made,
Revenue.
right? Revenue
Mm.
and how much you spent.
Expenses.
Yep, over
Yeah.
a certain period of time.
So that could be like a month,
Could be a month,
a year.
a quarter, a year, exactly.
Okay.
And then there's the cash flow statement.
This is the one that a lot of people have trouble with.
It can be tricky,
Yeah.
but honestly, it might be the most important one
Okay, why is that?
because it tracks the actual movement of cash. Where's the money coming from
Right.
and where is it going?
So it's not just about how much money you're making,
No,
but it's about when you're getting that money and when you have to pay it out.
exactly. You have to
Yeah.
be able to pay your bills.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. So I'm sensing that all of these statements, they're all connected.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not enough to just look at one of them by itself.
You need to see the whole picture.
Right.
Lamba, he makes a really good analogy in the book
Okay.
about a company that makes a huge sale.
Uh-huh.
So they look really profitable on paper.
Yeah, on their profit and loss statement.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
But what if the customer doesn't pay right away? What if they're paying like in installments?
Over time.
Yeah, over like a year.
Then the company might not have the cash on hand.
Right. Even though they made the sale.
Wow. So they could actually be in trouble.
They could.
Yeah.
If they need to pay their suppliers now,
Right.
they might not have the cash to do it.
So that's why cash flow is so important.
Cash flow is king.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
But how can we actually manage cash flow effectively?
Well, there are a lot of things you can do,
Okay.
but one of the most important is cost management.
Okay. What does that mean?
Basically, it means being really careful about what you're spending money on
Okay.
and making sure that you're not wasting money on things that you don't need.
So cutting out the unnecessary expenses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But without sacrificing quality.
Right.
Think of it like trimming the fat, not cutting into the muscle.
Gotcha.
You need to be ruthless about identifying and eliminating unnecessary expenses.
Right.
And always be on the lookout for ways to do things more efficiently.
Yeah, so it's all about being smart with your resources.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm curious about the financial discipline aspect.
Uh-huh.
This might sound kind of boring,
I know what you mean.
but I have a feeling that it's more important than it seems.
It really is.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
Well, it's all about having good habits,
Okay.
like making sure you pay your taxes on time,
Right.
keeping accurate records. So important.
And complying with all the regulations.
Yeah. I mean, nobody likes doing that stuff.
I know.
But
it's super important.
like the foundation of your business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lamba compares it to building a house
Okay.
if the foundation is weak.
Well, the whole thing could collapse.
Exactly.
So you got to make sure that you're doing things right.
From the start.
Okay, now let's talk about return on investment.
ROI.
ROI. I'm always hearing that term thrown around.
It's a big one.
But how do we actually track ROI?
Well, basically, you need to figure out how much money you're making
Okay.
from each investment.
Right.
Whether it's a new piece of equipment,
Yeah.
a marketing campaign,
Uh-huh.
or even a new employee.
So anything that you're putting money into.
Exactly.
Mhm.
You need to ask yourself,
Okay.
is this going to generate a positive return?
So it's not just about spending money.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that that money is actually working for you.
Right. It's about making smart investments.
I see. Okay, now let's talk about those dreaded financial ratios.
All right. I have to admit, these can be a bit intimidating.
They can be, but they don't have to be.
Okay, so how can we break them down in a way that's easy to understand?
Well, think of them as like little detectives.
Okay.
They can give you clues about a company's financial health.
Okay. Interesting. So give me an example.
Sure, let's take the debt-to-equity ratio.
Okay.
So imagine you're building a house.
Okay.
The debt is like the mortgage,
Right.
and the equity is like your down payment.
Okay. Gotcha.
So a high debt-to-equity ratio.
That would mean you have a big mortgage,
Yeah, compared to your down payment.
so you're taking on more risk.
Exactly. Now, that's not always a bad thing,
Right.
but it's something to be aware of.
Okay. What about some other ratios?
Well, there's the current ratio,
Okay.
which tells you if a company has enough short-term assets
Okay.
to cover its short-term liabilities.
So basically, can they pay their bills?
Exactly. And then there's inventory turnover.
What does that tell us?
That shows how quickly a company is selling its products.
Okay. So if the inventory turnover is low, that means that products are sitting around not being sold.
Exactly, which could be a problem.
Right. So all of these ratios, they're really giving us some valuable insights into the business.
They really are.
It's not just about random numbers.
Yeah.
It's about understanding what they tell us about the story of the business.
It's like putting together a puzzle.
I like that.
All the pieces fit together to tell a story.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's get to the fun part.
Okay.
Romancing the balance sheet.
Oh, yeah.
What does Lamba really mean by that?
Well, it's about changing your mindset.
Okay.
A lot of people see financial statements and they just get scared.
Totally.
It can feel overwhelming.
Like something to be avoided.
Exactly. But Lambo wants us to see them differently.
Okay.
He wants us to see them as tools for success.
Okay.
The more you understand them, the
Yeah.
more you can use them to make good decisions for your business.
So instead of being afraid of the numbers,
Yeah.
we need to embrace them.
Yes.
And learn how to use them to our advantage.
It's like any relationship.
What do you mean?
You have to put in the time
Like
to get to know them,
right.
to understand them,
Yeah.
and to build a strong relationship.
So you're saying we need to romance the balance sheet.
Exactly.
I like it.
We need to make it our friend.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We
We've learned about the different financial statements, the importance of cash flow, how to track ROI, and even how to romance the balance sheet.
I think we've earned a glass of wine after this.
I think you might be right.
Yeah,
But even though we've covered a lot, this is just the beginning.
it really is.
So what is one thing that our listeners can do today
Today.
to improve their financial health,
Well,
besides having a glass of wine?
besides that,
Besides that,
well, they could read Lamba's book.
yeah, romancing the balance sheet.
It's a great place to start.
It really is. What else could they do?
Well, they could sit down and create a budget. Or they could talk to their accountant.
Yeah, get some professional advice.
Exactly. The important thing is to take action.
Right,
Don't just listen to this deep dive and then do nothing.
right. You have to actually put what you've learned into practice.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today for this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
And be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into the world of business and finance.
I'll be here.
See you then.
Bye.